Many games have been released throughout the years, even some that have been important and impactful to my life. Games that I will always cherish as either the purest form of art and a master classes of creativity. But honestly, even though it's a fairly new game, no game has been able to reach the level of Baldur's Gate 3 for me. No game has ever had the amount of creativity this game has had. I have no real interest in Dungeons and Dragons or most fantasy stories in general. However, this game captivated me with its thrilling narrative, exciting gameplay, and the standards it pushes. My good friend Butters Crimson said it best. Even though Baldur's Gate 3 doesn't change gaming, it does showcase how great writing can be. It calls out the laziness of modern games and deserves the boundless praise that it received. And even though Alan Wake 2 was utter garbage, this game made it up to me. Thank you, Butters, for your contribution to today's video. Before we get into spoilers for Baldur's Gate 3, I will explain to you why you should play it. Not many games tell a great story alongside great gameplay, so we need to appreciate these gems while we can. So go play it, alright? Alright, it's time to begin today's video. No, I'm just kidding with you. You seriously thought I liked this garbage?
Somewhere in these eyes, I'm on your side.
I hate Baldur's Gate 3. This game is so bad, it's amazing it's somehow even won Game of the Year. I'm glad it won over the trash known as Spider-Man 2, but it does not make this game good. Baldur's Gate 3 exposes the degenerates in the world. It literally has a bare sex scene as one of the most popular clips on the internet. Of course a bunch of weirdos will like it. Then you have Larian Studios, the people behind the game. These guys are a bunch of incompetent losers that don't deserve a dime from you. They got mad at their own community because most of them decided to make quote-unquote boring white characters. They also blame their inability to optimize on the Series S on the console itself, when it can run much more impressive games at 120 FPS with no problem. They stripped the tactical elements from the previous Baldur's Gate games to appeal to the normie crowd who only jerk off to get in the fill with the popular opinion. It's pathetic. Instead of praising the actual good games this year, Baldur's Gate 3 gets all the appreciation for doing nothing new. They lied about the amount of endings you have and the amount of choices that have an actual impact, but no one cares about that because you're all mindless sheep. Baldur's Gate 3 is a horrible video game made by lazy developers, produced for the mindless hive mind who will no doubt praise this game for years. Baldur's Gate 3 is full of woke leftist politics and ideologies. The lead writer on this game literally went to prison in 2016 for assaulting a white person based on their skin color. And we're seriously funding them? We're funding people that attack people of color. I have no respect for the gaming community because they don't respect themselves. They praise trash and beg for more. Honestly, as much as I talk bad about Sony games, at least they're actual video games instead of this garbage. I had more fun with Death Stranding than I ever did with Baldur's Gate 3. Larian Studios support groups that has political ties to the Nazis and hate towards black people like me. Affirm trans rights, stand with Ukraine, Black Lives Matter, women belong in the kitchen, trans visibility is valid. Everyone that likes this game are a bunch of retards and autists, and some might say, well dude, you put 500 hours into the game, does that mean you're stupid? No, because I'm me and you're you. My birth was planned for generations, yet your birth was a mistake.
It's funny because it's true.
The reason trash like you enjoy garbage games like Baldur's Gate 3 is because you will never have my mental capacity. I am the king of gaming because I actually play video games. You guys are just pathetic. You should be begging for me to buy this game, not the other way around. If you're a fan of this game, please explain to me why in the comments because I can dismantle every single argument you present. And honestly, if you disagree with me, you're objectively wrong. Only racist, bigots, and self-hating losers like this trash. Bro, all I'm saying is I couldn't even put 20 hours into this game. Like, come on, bro. I only played for 500 hours before I turned the game off. That's embarrassing. I could expose every single one of you even more, but I won't. Instead, I'll give you a full explanation on why this game is objectively horrible. Alright, so first, it starts off with the absolutely, positively horrible
Somewhere beyond the sea, somewhere waiting for me. My lover stands on golden sands and watches the ships that go sailing. Somewhere beyond the sea, she's there watching for me. If I could fly like birds on high, then straight to her arms I'd go sailing. It's far
BioShock is one of the most influential and beloved video games of all time. But it's also pretty mid, I'm not
You
gonna-
fucking stupid bitch! This stupid fucking justice, all fucking righteous fucking
Okay, so it's not mid per se. BioShock is a great game, but it does have a lot of problems that people tend to ignore. In this video, I'm just going to be giving my opinion on the game overall, including all the positives and negatives of the game, and telling you if you should buy it in 2024 or not. So, I hope if you love this game and think that I'm a retard for saying that you give me a chance and listen to what I have to say about the game before you judge my video.
They told me, son, you're special. You were born to do great things. You know what? They were right.
The entire idea of Rapture is extremely interesting to me. Construction for Rapture began in 1945. Ryan decided it needed to be underwater to stay away from government intervention, right? His philosophy is that people that don't contribute in advancing society and those who place limitations to constrain innovation are not fit to exist. His speech at the beginning of the game explains his thought process perfectly and is a perfect reason to describe why the game is one of the best video game intros I've ever seen in my entire life.
I am Andrew Ryan, and I'm here to ask you a question. Is a man not entitled to the sweat of his brow? No, says the man in Washington, it belongs to the poor. No, says the man in the Vatican, it belongs to God. No, says the man in Moscow, it belongs to everyone. I rejected those answers. Instead, I chose something different. I chose the impossible. I chose Rapture. A city where the artist would not fear the censor, where the scientist would not be bound by petty morality, where the great would not be constrained by the small. And with the sweat of your brow, Rapture can become your city as well.
BioShock's intro is honestly perfect in my opinion. It introduces you to the city, its creator and his ideals, and shortly after the current horrific state of Rapture. Before we get into the gameplay and the story, I need to explain a few things about the world of BioShock. Atom is a chemical substance that rewrites your genetic code, which leads you to plasmids, aka superpowers. It's found in a certain type of sea slug that was discovered by Bridget Tenenbaum, which she harvested. Plasmids were used by citizens in everyday life, for example, to light a cigar. Tonics, on the other hand, were used to make yourself stronger or smarter or something similar. However, what the citizens of Rapture didn't anticipate was the fact that Atom would fuck up their bodies, minds, and make them addicted to it. People wanted Atom desperately, but the slugs weren't supplying enough of it to keep the consumers happy. So naturally, the people at Rapture's next thought was to stick them inside of little girls in order to produce more Atom for people. What the fuck? But anyways, my point is that the splites that you fight in the game are a bunch of drug addicts who went crazy over sea slugs, and that's why they're all deranged and attack you and say a bunch of crazy shit while you're just walking around.
Call the cops on me!
Even by themselves. You see one of them cut open a guy in front of you before your new best friend talks to you and the game really kicks off.
Don't hurt me! Let me go!
Is it someone new?
on moving. We're gonna have to get you to higher ground. Take a deep breath and step out of the bathysphere. I won't leave you twisting in the wind.
The gameplay of Bioshock is mostly fun, but it does have some problems. On one hand, you have multiple plasmids to choose from, on the other, a bunch of guns. A lot of the plasmids are fucking useless, and even the better ones like Electro Bow become meaningless by the end of the game. When it comes to the weapons, the pistol is one of the best weapons throughout the whole game. I don't know why, but randomly at the very end, the enemies get this weird boost and become bullet sponges pretty much. There's also this fucking piece of shit section where Jack, or you, pretends to be a big daddy and you have to follow a little sister as she gathers at him. This bitch goes at a snail's pace and it's honestly the worst part of the entire game. The gameplay works for the story that it's trying to tell, and for most of the experience the combat is fun. However, it is a bit rough around the edges and is greatly overshadowed by its sequel in that department. Other huge flaws of the gameplay are the god-awful hacking and camera systems. The hacking minigame is boring and pauses the entire experience. That's all I'm going to say about it because it doesn't deserve any more words than that. Bioshock 2 does it better anyway. The camera system. The camera system. Why is it even in the game? You use the camera to gain research points, which grants you more bonuses like more damage towards certain enemies. Each type of enemy has different research levels, and in order to take a photo, you need to swap out your gun for a fucking camera. Then you need to snap a photo while in combat. It kills both the pacing and my will to live. I seriously have to wonder, who thought this was a great idea? The level design though is fucking amazing. Each level is great to look at and well designed for the player's experience. Now if it's your first time playing, I'd recommend playing without the marker. For some that might sound horrible, but Bioshock's incredible design has natural signs and shops to tell you exactly where to go without it. But if you're trying to go for a main journey breeze like me, the quest area is still a great way to go. The atmosphere is amazing. Rapture is known as the greatest gaming world for a reason. Everything feels so natural and interesting, which causes your sense of adventure to go off the rails. But even though the gameplay is good, it's mostly known for its story, so how is the story? The story's amazing, but you already know that though. Bioshock has two major plot twists that are both well done, surrounded by a well-written story in general. The lore and the actual main plot are told through the gameplay instead of a million cutscenes, mostly giving the player control. It's sort of like Dead Space in this regard, which I think is great. More games should let you actually play them. And no, walking around for 2 hours does not count. Which is fitting since control is a large part of the themes in Bioshock. A man chooses, a slave obeys. Are you acting out of your own will and thoughts, or are you just a pawn in another man's game? Before I get into spoiler territory, I want to give you a short recap if you're interested in picking up the game. Bioshock is a great game. It tells an amazing story with fun gameplay, great lore, and a lot of effort put into the details. So go play it, alright? Okay, it's time for spoilers. One of the main plot twists is that you are the son of Andrew Ryan. This twist works great because it's so obvious, which might sound stupid, but let me explain a little bit. A lot of the things in Bioshock should only be accessible to Andrew Ryan. The Vita Chambers are meant to resurrect him in the event that he dies. So how come you can respawn from them? It's because you're his son, so naturally you contain his genetics. This makes the fact that you killed him with your own hands even more disturbing. The other twist is much more impactful though. Throughout the game, a man named Alice is guiding you. Originally he needs your help to find his family, his wife Moira and his son Patrick. But at some point the bathysphere containing his family is blown up by Ryan. Alice is pissed and he asks if you would help him get revenge on Ryan. He keeps guiding you throughout the city as you learn more and more about the fall of Rapture. Eventually you find out that when you were born, there was a method of mind control forced into your head. The trigger phrase was, "Would you kindly?"
Would you kindly? Would you kindly get this? Would you kindly find that? Would you kindly find that? Would you kindly find? Would you kindly get this? Would you kindly head to Ryan's office and kill the son of a bitch?
Ryan himself shows you this in his office with one of the most iconic scenes in gaming. I'll let it play here.
Sit, would you kindly? Stand, would you kindly? Run! Stop! Turn. A man chooses. A slave obeys. Kill! A man chooses! a slave obeys. Obey!
Hurry now! Grab Ryan's genetic key! Now would you kindly put it in that goddamn machine?
Alice has been playing you for a fool the entire time. But that's not all there is to this twist. Before Rapture collapsed, Andrew Ryan was in a civil war with a man named Frank Fontaine. Ryan feared that Fontaine was directly opposing his leadership, which led to a lot of Rapture choosing sides. In the middle of a shootout, Fontaine is shot and killed. However, right after this, a man named Atlas rises up as the voice of the poor and the defenseless. You probably already assumed this already, but yes, Atlas is Frank Fontaine. But the truth goes even deeper than that. Fontaine isn't even Fontaine. The real Fontaine is dead, and his name was taken and used to slip into Rapture. This twist, just like the other one, is great but also noticeable. Atlas is your friend, sure, but his initial motivation was for you to save his family. During the Fort Frolic level, you could find a poster with the names Patrick and Moira on them. He stole the names from a Sandra Cohen stage production. This twist is powerful and the main reason that Bioshock is so praised by everyone. All in all, the story is amazing. I love the twist and the lore revolved around Rapture's rise and fall. Every character's story is interesting and every audio log is worth listening to. Andrew Ryan, Frank Fontaine, Bridget Tenenbaum, Sandra Cohen, the list goes on. All these characters are well written and showcase the horrific minds of Rapture, and how its citizens were affected by the politics and beliefs.
Did you daddy a puppy? She's very pretty.
Thank you, Papa Sushant.
Break her neck for me. What? Break that sweet puppy's neck. No, please. Break that puppy's neck. Would you kindly? No. No. Very good.
In the end, Andrew Ryan's ideals were what killed his dream in the first place. He wanted to be free from religion, but the main discovery of Rapture has ties to Christianity. He wanted to be free from parasites, while he ended up becoming a parasite himself, stealing other people's ideas and selling them off. The selfish nature of Ryan's ideals were manifested by the person who brought the city to ruins, Frank Fontaine. Bioshock is a great game, sure, but it's not the only game in this series. It has two sequels, Bioshock 2 and Bioshock Infinite. I'll cover these games later on, but for the sake of this video, I'll say that while Bioshock has the best story, Bioshock 2 has the best gameplay, and Bioshock Infinite has the best companion and visuals, all three of these games are good. None of them need to be perfect in every way. Bioshock was an extremely solid foundation for this franchise, with the later games building it up more in different ways. I hope you all liked my video on Bioshock, but if you did, would you kindly subscribe? Also, I forgot to mention, but B-Hands! Fuck yeah! Oh yeah, baby! Before you go, here's some things you might not have known about Bioshock. The team took a long time coming up with the concept of the little sister. The ties to Adam and being a gatherer were there, but the actual design of them wasn't. The whale swimming by during the intro was actually supposed to be in the Proving Grounds area at the end of the game. However, the team thought the swimming animation looked so great that they moved it to the beginning of the game. Our last fact for the day is that the central antagonist, Andrew Ryan, is named after Ayn Rand, an objectivist and author. Miss Rand's most influential books, Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead, both play key parts in the narrative. A lot of the concepts introduced in her novels appear as core themes in Bioshock. But that's not all. Two other important names are based off of her books as well. Frank Fontaine's name is, of course, based on The Fountainhead, while Atlas is obviously based on the novel Atlas Shrugged. A poster that can be found in the game has the phrase, "Who is Atlas?" written on it, which is a nod to the iconic line from the book Atlas Shrugged, "Who is John Galt?" If you learned anything new, please let me know. Thank you and have a good rest of your day.
From what I've gathered, you grew up nice and sheltered with mama's pretty stories and your own made-up fury. And mama gave me a magic clicker. Well, yes, I think it's true and fair to say. Come on in and listen, lost words you've been missing. Now the fire you're bearing, the eye of the darkness you're lying. So you were drawn to stories early on. My dreams would light up my imagination, and you had nightmares night and day. Yeah, but with the clicker I chased those frights away. Ooh, you, so true. So here is a clue of hope to remember. Visions, they come true. Bend the lights with steel. Show me the champion of light. I'll show you the herald of darkness. Lost in the never-ending night. Diving deep to the surface. And all your stories of crime and chilling thrillers of hard-boiled killers became bestsellers.
Hello and welcome to my video on Alan Wake 2. Today I'll be reviewing the game and talking about my overall thoughts on it, alright? So, to preface this video, I'll be saying a lot of things that might trigger some of you, and you might be wondering, well, why would you start out the video by saying this? Well, to put it simply, I want people to know straight up, I talk in a way that is aggressive, harsh, and rude. And if you have a problem with it, honestly fuck off, because I'm not gonna censor myself to make you feel better, okay? So, Alan Wake 2 is meant for people that like Sony games. Now, if you like Sony games, that's fine, you can like whatever you like. I actually like some of them too. But the main problem that I have with Sony games is that a lot of them have put too much of a focus on story. Now, if you like story a lot, then that's good for you. That's great. I'm glad you think that. However, I have the belief that what's most important in a video game is gameplay. Now, I know that's a hard concept for you to grasp, but in my personal opinion, gameplay is over story. Because gameplay is what matters most in a video game. Now, I'm not saying if, like, for example, a game has slightly better gameplay and a horrible story versus a really great story with a little bit slightly worse gameplay, then I would understand why you would pick the one with the better story, because it has two positives versus one positive that's only slightly better than the other one with a big negative. But the reason why I don't understand the people that act like story is the end-all be-all is that, like, if you only cared about the story, why would you even buy the game? Just watch a video on it, or watch something, like watch a movie. If you only care about the story, why are you spending $60 to $70 to play the fucking game? Did I just whisper when I swore? Okay, anyways, look. If you like Sony games, you'll probably like this one. That's all I'm trying to say, and I know some people try to deny that, but it's literally the truth, and I don't care what anyone says, this game is meant for that crowd, and I'll explain why soon. The gameplay of Alan Wake 2 is, like, okay, so the combat, to be honest, is improved over the first game. I will give it that, the combat is improved. Instead of the way it was before, it's more like in the style of Resident Evil, which I know a lot of people disagree with too, but I'm not saying it's like the same exact like mindset you're in when you're playing Resident Evil, but it's like the camera angle and like the way your character moves almost is like Resident Evil to me, and it's basically just Alan Wake X Resident Evil in my opinion, which isn't a negative thing on the game's part. I actually like the gameplay of this one and how it feels to play. I like the combat. I feel like the shooting is pretty good. I feel like a lot of people are bothered by the fact that it's so simple. Like you shine a light on them, you know, the shadow thing goes away, you fucking shoot at them. I don't mind that. I think it's actually pretty cool. And a lot of people think it's not that creative. I think it's pretty creative, and I think it's cool, and I fucking like it, and I don't care if you don't. I think it's cool, which is a positive in this game's favor. However, the problem with the game isn't the combat. It's the fact that there's not enough combat. Alan Wake 2, for long periods of time, will have you walking around an area either looking for items to progress with the story, or just walking or following a character, or just something like that. Or just sitting and doing basically nothing for long periods of time. I would say most of the game is doing something that isn't very fun. And that's one thing I will say. Alan Wake 2 is not a fun game gameplay wise. It's a fun game when it comes to everything else though. Like this game has multiple sequences where there's like music playing and you're either fighting to it or watching it happen on screen, which is really fucking cool. And even though like you're not really doing anything like combat wise, it's such a creative experience. You don't fucking care and it's cool as shit. I don't care what anyone says. Even though I had like the most fucking gameplay king guy, it's cool. Those were the best parts of the game when you were either fighting or just looking at the dance sequences. It's never been done before in video games, at least to my knowledge, because I don't play a lot of games. I've only played like a couple hundred in my entire lifetime. So I haven't seen a lot of other games that do this kind of cool shit. This was unique and it's cool. But that's what Remedy does best. They make unique games. I love Remedy for that. They make unique games. Alan Wake was unique. It had a different kind of like story and gameplay. It kind of felt like a TV show in a game, which is kind of fucking cool for like at least a little bit. And then Control was pretty fucking cool too, with like the powers and shit, and like the environments, and it was like inspired by SCP, and like it was just a really cool game. Max Payne especially was cool. It was like a gritty detective noir story, and I really appreciated that. It had like the comic book art style for certain cutscenes, or like every cutscene almost, and it had the bullet time, which was really like new. And they actually developed that before The Matrix came out. I like Max Payne and Control. I like both of them. They're both good games to me. And I even like the first Alan Wake game. Alan Wake 2, I will not say I dislike it, because that would be a bold-faced lie if I pretend that I did not enjoy my time with the game. Yes, there were periods of time where I did not like the game. But compared to so many games, I'm going to bring up the Sony comparison again. This game has an actually interesting and well-made story, which is unique for this type of game, because most Sony games can't say they have a well-told story. They just lack the gameplay with no story to back it up. This is why I like Alan Wake 2 over all of those games, because as much as people say, well, as long as the gameplay's bad, well, the story is good to make up. No, it's not. God of War does not have a good story. I'm sorry to break it to you. God of War died in God of War 3, and that's the objective truth. I just want to make it clear, when I say objective, I don't really mean objective. That's more like an exaggeration. I already know that my opinions are completely subjective. But anyways, God of War died in God of War 3. It did. God of War after that, and to all my like friends listening that act like I'm insane for saying this kind of shit, God of War 2018 is fucking boring. It's boring as shit. I don't care about Atreus and their fucking father-son dynamic. Okay, it was kind of cool at first. I'm not even gonna cap. It kind of was kind of cool at first. The idea of Kratos with like a son, and he's an old man. He's fucking tired of this shit. Okay, that's cool. It's like Logan with Kratos. It's cool. But the novelty of it wears off really fast, and you realize how boring the game is with its boring-ass puzzles, its boring-ass gameplay. I'm not going to get into God of War or go on a full-on rant, but basically games like that they don't have good stories or good gameplay. Alan Wake at least has good combat and a good story, so it's better than both of them. Like, automatically. Both of them. All of them automatically. Because they're actually good. It just has like boring segments that I don't like, which is why I wouldn't say, if you're one of those people that are like let's say you expect Devil May Cry levels of fun consistently, you're not gonna like Alan Wake 2. You're not. That's just the truth. It's okay. Not every game is for everyone. You're not gonna like it. But if you're one of those people that don't mind a slower game, you'll probably like it. I wasn't enjoying it for certain periods of time, which sucks, but I ended up with a positive experience after that, and I can say that I do not regret playing Alan Wake 2. It is a good story that I enjoyed, and it's memorable, and I like it. It was a good experience for me. But if you're one of those people that are kind of concerned, you probably won't like it as much. Which is okay, there's nothing wrong with that, despite what other people think. There's nothing wrong with not liking a video game. And when it comes to the story is pretty good. I've been saying it this whole video, it has a good story. Alan's part of the story focuses on him inside of the dark place, trying to figure out what's happening to him and what's been happening for the past 13 years, and going through all this crazy shit. With Saga's portion of the campaign, with her outside of the dark place in the real world, with like connections to the dark place happening when she has to deal with all these other things, like people from the previous Alan Wake game, and even characters from Alan Wake's novels, like coming into the real world almost. And you have to like determine which is real and what is fiction, which is even one of the parts of the board in the game. Which, speaking of, that's another part of the game I forgot to mention actually. In Alan's part of the campaign, there'll be like this board where you have to put certain plot points and connect them together with the scenes to basically change the environment around you, to craft the story in a way that suits what Alan is trying to get past, like the objective. And there's also his like light thingy which you can switch to change the environment around him, which makes for some puzzles and everything like that. Personally, I didn't enjoy the light thingy. I thought the board was okay, but it wasn't very fun. I like Saga's board more because it focused more on doing detective work and connecting the dots together and connecting certain pieces. Now, obviously, you could just do a schizo and then place every single plot point until you get it right. But I actually found it was not that difficult to just place it on the right thing the first time. It was very fun. I liked exploring to get into clues on that part, because exploring basically meant talking to like 3 guys and picking up like 3 things and then putting them on the board, and that was it. There wasn't no further explanation except for certain parts where it stretched out a little bit too much. But for the most part, I did enjoy putting the plot points together. I can't think of another gameplay mechanic that Saga introduces, to be honest, besides the detective board. I think that's it, honestly. Alan's has 2 and Saga has 1. And when it comes to like the whole political messaging thing that people are upset about with this game, I don't think it has political messaging. And if you know me, you know I was one of those people that like fucking hate when people pander to me. Cause I like, okay, viewers, you probably don't know this, but I'm black. I fucking hate when people pander. That's why I fucking despise what Disney be doing sometimes, where they cast people like, oh, you know that whole Little Mermaid black shit? I fucking hated that. Which I know doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but, and I don't even fucking care, like, deeply about it. It just, like, I fucking hate shit like that. Why switch a white character to a black character? I hate being pandered to so much, but this game does not do that. I can confirm, this game does not do that. Saga is a very well-written character. I think all of the characters are well-written, but Saga especially is well-written and was a very nice addition to this franchise, this universe, to the Remedy games. I love her. She's a very great character, and I was honestly surprised by how much I liked her character. I actually liked her campaign more than Alan's. I found her story to be really interesting, which normally I like the actual supernatural shit that's going on in like the dark place. I expected to like that more, but I actually liked her and Alex like uncovering the truth inside the real world while you're mirrored to Alan Wake going through a bunch of traumatic shit inside of the dark place. I thought that was really cool. So yeah, I actually liked her campaign more than Alan's, which is surprising to me because I was actually complaining about it before, saying I wanted to play as Alan the entire time. But yeah, Saga's a pretty good character, and I enjoyed playing as her, which I think you'll probably enjoy playing as her too. Unless you're a racist, because some people that don't like Saga are straight up racist. Now, I think the argument of, oh, if you don't like this black character, you're obviously a racist, is stupid for most things. But for this, I don't understand the complaints, because, like, the reasoning is just, she's black, so obviously she's a horrible character. Just because someone is black does not make them a bad character. That is so autistic. Why are we just labeling it a bad character? Why are we labeling people a bad character just because they're black? It's so fucking stupid. And it just shows that you're racist. It would be like if they had a woman character, and I was like, well, she's a bad character. And you're like, why? Well, because she's a woman. That's stupid. It doesn't make sense. You can't base that off of that alone. Now, if you were to say, oh, how is this woman like why is it they calling this woman the king of the, like, okay, something like that, that's pretty fucking cringe. But that's not what they do here. Saga's well written, she's grounded, she's a good character, she cares about her family, she cares about her friends, she's a good person and a good character, and I appreciate her inclusion, and I liked her, and I honestly think it was a good idea to put her against like Alan's campaign. I like it. When it comes to the graphics, the game looks pretty good visually. Actually, that's an understatement. The game looks fucking amazing, and I came multiple times looking at it. Alan Wake 2 looks fucking great. It does. I'm sorry to all the people that wanted me to shit on this game. This game looks fucking great. It does. Every environment looks fantastic. Straight up, it looks fucking gorgeous. And honestly, I'm convinced Epic Games pushed Remedy to their fucking limit to make this game on this engine, because it looks fantastic even on my shitty fucking console. And I play on PS5, by the way. It looks great. Especially like the area of New York that Alan is at. It looks great. Every location that Saga or Alan goes to looks amazing. The character models all look amazing. All the fucking live action scenes look amazing based on the set design, the lighting, the camera angles, everything looks fucking cool. And then all the stylistic choices that they choose to having the characters in the background, like having their like a vision of them fading, like stuff like that is so fucking cool to me, and it looks great visually with a lot of good visual effects and elements to it, which I appreciate, and I thought it looked great. And honestly, if you're one of those people that only care about story and how the game looks, this game is for you. It's one of the best looking, or it might even be the best looking game I've ever seen in my life. And it has a great story to back it up. So if you're only here for the story, I would recommend picking up Alan Wake 2. But if you're one of those people that care more about gameplay, you might want to hold off for a sale, or maybe not even at all. And when it comes to the sound, there's multiple things to talk about. The sound design isn't like the environmental sounds, the sounds of the enemies. I feel like they were all fine. I had no complaints there. In fact, I actually like a lot of the sound effects, like when you're fighting in combat. And I feel like all of them fit well. There's no obvious glaring issues that I noticed personally in my playthrough. But I know what you mainly want me to talk about. The music. The music in Alan Wake 2 is fucking amazing. Herald of Darkness especially is really good. I actually have listened to it at least 20 times outside of playing the game, while in class, or playing something, doing anything. I'll be blasting this shit in my ear. Yeah, with the clicker. I will literally be listening to the song. I think I've listened to it every day since I played the game. It's just that good. And if you don't believe me, I'm gonna play a clip of it right now. So yeah, now that you know what I mean, the fucking music is amazing, okay? The music is amazing. I can acknowledge that, accept it. Honestly, if someone said objectively the music is amazing, even though that isn't like a fact, I would agree with them, because the music is just that good. The music is one of the best parts of this game. The two best segments of the entire game are with Alan and Saga, and they both involve really great music playing in the background or in the foreground. And I really appreciate that. I think it's creative and unique, and I feel like we could all look at this as a unique experience for the game, which makes it really fucking cool. And I'm glad to see that Remedy's getting the recognition they deserve for all the praise they're getting for these scenes, with even like magazines, like fucking reports and articles about how good the music scenes are. And even at the Game Awards, they had a moment where they could perform it live on stage in front of everyone, and it was fucking glorious to hear it playing on stage. Honestly, one of the only good like Game Awards memories from recent memory. And yeah, I feel like Remedy's well deserved in their praise for the music. It's really good. Now, when it comes to the technical part of the game, this is where my biggest issues lie. The game has multiple bugs that I experienced in my playthrough, like a visual bug that persisted the entire fucking game. And that might not sound that bad because just a visual bug. It fucking bothers me. Now, I already have a weird mind. So imagine my shock when every 3 seconds, most of the time, there will be random white dots on the screen. It really fucking triggers me, and it bothers the hell out of me. And it's not even just that. There's also game-breaking bugs that cause me to either restart my PS5 or reload the entire game. Which fucking sucks. I don't want to have to do that every time there's a game-breaking bug, which I got at least like 5 of them. The biggest issue that I had with these bugs is a part of Saga's campaign where you're in Coffee World, right? And you're supposed to get these items to progress with the story and work on the float. Now, I knew where every item was because I explored. I looked around and got to every single item. And I'm thinking to myself, well, this item's on the list, but I can't pick it up, huh? Maybe I need to find a different one in a different area that isn't attached to anything and just lying on the ground somewhere on a table. Wow! So then I look around for like another 2 hours, and I'm just like, where the hell am I going wrong? And I don't want to look it up. I'm not trying my hardest not to look it up, because I was trying to beat the game without looking anything up or doing any like extra tinkering to figure out an answer to something. I didn't look around. I mean, I didn't look it up. I looked around, I couldn't do anything, and it was especially egregious. And this is what caused me to figure out that there was an issue. When I was tasked with stopping, like, this, ride, right? So I stopped it perfectly, went around, and I was like, huh, there's nothing here. And then I did it again to make sure I wasn't fucking tripping. So then I did it again, and then I went to the spot. I'm like, I know for sure I should be able to do this, because this is pretty obvious to me. But guess what? I couldn't do it. So that's when I folded, and I started asking people that I knew played the game, what the fuck am I supposed to do? And then they told me that I was in the right areas for all those things. So guess what I did? I restarted my PS5, because when I tried to reload my save file, it didn't fucking work. So I restarted my PS5, got back on the game, and then did all of it within 3 minutes. And you might be thinking, well, in the end, Psycho, you got all the things. Why does it matter? You dumb bitch. I wasted my fucking life playing this dumb shit for like 2 hours looking around when I couldn't even interact with it to begin with. And it wasn't even my fucking fault. It was the game's fault for being faulty and having technical issues. And it wasn't the only time that it happened. It happened other times other than that where I couldn't pick up an item, so I couldn't progress with the fucking story. So I was stuck for like 20 minutes looking around for nothing. There was nothing there. I couldn't do anything, and it wasn't my fault. It was the game's fault, and it had nothing to do with me. I was soft locked, and it was fucking annoying. And honestly, even if you get on all fours for this game and suck it off and suck the fucking shit out of its dick through a bendy straw, even if you stood up here and capped for this game so hard that you defend the technical issues, fuck you. I don't want to hear from you anymore. Your opinion is forever invalid to me. Because why are you capping so hard for this fucking game? That is unacceptable, and it's a problem with the game that should be patched out, and I fucking hate it. Why are there so many technical issues with Alan Wake 2? It's annoying, it halts my progress, and it distracts me from playing the game and getting fully immersed into the experience, which everyone talks about. Oh, the immersion, oh, the experience. I want to get into the experience. I want to have the same experience you guys are having. But I can't when there's technical issues and things that stop me from enjoying the game. And I looked it up to make sure it wasn't just me. And it wasn't just me. Hundreds of other people have talked about how there's technical issues with this game, and some of them have even experienced the exact same Coffee World one especially. And that is unacceptable. Remedy should be ashamed of themselves. It's been out for like ever since fucking October, I think, and I bought the game like only a few days ago, and even I had this issue. So why is it taking them so long to get rid of it? That's something you should fix, yeah? A technical issue that stops you from playing the game? That's probably be one of the high priorities, right? And they even released a New Game Plus update shortly before I bought the game. Why haven't you fixed it by now? What the hell is wrong with you? Fix the fucking game! So yeah, of course I'm angry and a little bit salty about that. Other than the gameplay part, which I was willing to overlook, that stuff halted my progress multiple times and made it impossible to fully enjoy the game, which is fucking autistic and stupid, and I hated it. So fuck you if you cap for this game for that. You can defend the story, you can even defend the fucking shitty gameplay. I don't care, but the moment you start defending the technical issues, fuck you. I don't care how good the game looks, it runs fucking horribly sometimes. Well, not runs horribly. There's like fucking technical issues that stop me from enjoying the game. If my enjoyment is halted because of a technical issue, I have a fucking problem with that, okay? And I know that might be hard for you to understand, but I have a problem with that. It's fucking annoying. So yeah, in conclusion, should you buy Alan Wake 2? I would say, if you're a fan of Sony games, or if you're a fan of stories and visuals over everything else, you should buy Alan Wake 2. This is the game for you. It has a fantastic story, fantastic visuals. It is a good experience, a narrative. But if you're looking for gameplay that is fun and consistent throughout, this is not the game for you. If you're willing to sacrifice some of that for the good story, then yes, I'd recommend buying this game maybe on sale. It's actually on sale right now for PlayStation, 20% off, I believe. But like I said, if you're one of those people that want a fun gameplay experience, this game is not for you. So just know what you're getting into beforehand. Don't fucking be baited into buying the game or peer pressured because, oh, it's a masterpiece, it's the best game ever made. Anyone that's saying it's the best game ever made is lying to you. I'm gonna be real, they're lying to you. It's not. It's not even close. It's not one of the best games ever made. You can like it, fair enough. But I keep the consistent stance that this is not the best game ever made or even close to being one of the best games ever made. It's just a good story. It has memorable moments, which makes it decent to good, which is fair. It's not a masterpiece. It's also not one of the worst games ever created. It's somewhere in the middle. Not every game has to be a masterpiece, just like how not every game has to be the worst video game ever created. Unless it's Death Stranding, then it's one of the worst video games ever created. Don't even at me with that shit. So anyways, thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. And buy Alan Wake 2 if you're curious. But if you want to hold off for it and wait for a sale, do that. Or, you know, if you don't want to buy it at all, then that's fair. That's fine. Like what you like. Buy what you want to buy. Enjoy the games that you wish to enjoy. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. And I hope you have a good Christmas. I probably won't record any more videos until Christmas is over. And probably start working on them the next year. Bye, guys. Wow, this definitely seems like a man running for his life, lightly jogging. It's you! I know you! No, come back, man. I need your fucking help, Butters. But other than that, I pretty much love